Hey, Teamer fans, and welcome back to another great episode. And because they're always great episodes, and what better episode than what we have here with our women's soccer coach, Coach Eamon Bennett. Welcome back.
Yep, thanks.
And we had some great results this last weekend against Otero and Trinidad, and let's talk a little bit about that, the good, the bad, and what can be improved.
You know, so we had the two. They're on the road. Otero had them on Friday. Very good team. They were undefeated, had not given up a goal. So we knew we had our hands cut out. And there's a really good rivalry between us and the league. You know, we'd beat them a couple of years for the region title. They in a game, it was a 1-0 game. So I don't know how many of those players are left over from that. There isn't on our side. There wouldn't be, but there would be, some history with that. So really good result to be able to take care of them. And we had Trinidad the next day. Back-to-back games are always tough, especially on the emotional side of it. But got the result there as well. A whole nother unique set of challenges going into the Trinidad game. Both teams are very well coached. They've got some really good individual players. Trinidad struggles with some depth, and so when they get a little bit tired, they might struggle. But really good results for us to go and pick up the 2 conference wins on the road.
That is absolutely a great point. We do like seeing some W's and some results in the win column. And so with Otero, it was a 3-1 score. And I got to say, one of my favorite goals was that header just off a nice set piece, and that was probably a 40-yard.
Yeah,
40-yard hit, and she just off the header, boom, goal.
You can see it on the, they're playing on a football field, on a turf field, so you can see the lines. But yeah, it was Haley Anderson sent a ball in, and fortunate for us, Otero just didn't pick up Michelle, and she got the ball and just bang her off of her head in the back of the net, and really good goal. Our men's team was there in the stands, and it was really, tremendous, great cheer and excitement. It was a lot of fun, but that was a great goal to put that. It made it a 2-0 game for us at that point. So we were in control pretty good at that point, at least on the scoreboard. And so that's always goals make big differences. Obviously that's how you win, but they can change momentum so quickly in a game. And that one gave us a lot of confidence, and I think it kind of crushed Otero a little bit through the rest of that half. So
yeah, because you go into the half up 2-0, you come out, and I mean within maybe 10 minutes they get a goal, and now you're up only 2-1 within this kind of tougher team that we're playing here with Otero. 2-1, you're not feeling safe.
We weren't, and we had talked at halftime about that we needed to come out, we needed to match their energy, we needed to be first to the ball, first defender, everything first, and not give up a goal so that momentum would change. And it was a great goal. She's a good player for them. I think she's from Australia. I can't remember exactly, but she scored a really good goal that the keeper's not going to get. But we had made the mistake. We had won a ball right before it and went to play it out and misplayed it to them, and now we're out of shape, and she took advantage of it. So all the momentum and all of that switched really quick onto their end, and we weren't sure how we were going to respond. I wasn't sure, and then Amberlyn Hill was able to win a ball and kind of took a shot that was just kind of one of those perfect floaters. And their keeper is a very good keeper, but she's not very tall. She's maybe 5 foot tall. She's very athletic, moves really well, but that ball just floated right over her hand and under the under the crossbar and the goal. And at that point, now it's like a momentum route really went back to us, because we're back to that 2-goal lead, and that's how the game ended up being 3-1 for us. So it was really good result against a very good team. Yeah,
and you talked a little bit about the kind of going from one game to the next, and so right after the game, what are you talking to your players about?
Yeah, we had a quick. We took the team off in the corner and had just a quick little team moment, and said, "Hey, it's over now. Okay, as great a win as that is, we now got to decompress. We got to let that go because you've got to turn around and play the next day. And so you're really high because we knew Otero was really good, and you're excited and all of that. Now you got to be able to bring it back down, and then you got to bring it back up for another game. And we had played lots of players, lots of minutes, because you can't focus on the second game when you haven't even played it. It's about winning the first one. And we did that, and we knew we were going to be tired, and so, yeah, that was tough. The players had to reorganize, and we had to sub a lot, and that takes away from certain things. And so we knew maybe the game might not be a pretty-looking game, but we were just hoping for the result. And so one of the things we've talked about all year is what are our growing things? What do we learn from? Mm-hmm. And that was a moment. It's like, hey, now we got to learn how do we react when we play a big emotional game, turn around and play the next game. And so we hope that we take some steps and learn, and we did.
Yeah, and fatigue can be one of those factors and it sounded like you did well with subbing in and out, and you handled it well with a 4-1 result, which was great. We love to see that. It sounds like, hey, if maybe you were fresh, it could have been a little bit not to say easier, but a better spread.
Well, I mean, it would definitely, some of the thought and the formation might have been a little bit different, and certainly how the players were moving. But yeah, it was a tough game, and Trinidad again is very well coached, and they have some good players. I mean, it took, I think it was about 30 minutes. It was 0-0, and they'd gotten it down on us and had a couple of corner kicks, and so we were not in the game mentally, physically. We were really wore out, and we finally broke through and scored. I think it was Jessa Lynn might have scored the first goal. I think she had a couple that day, actually. And as soon as that happened, it kind of felt like we loosened up a little bit, where we were tense because we got to win this game and we're so tired. But yeah, those are tough, and just glad, like, again, we kept ourselves kind of unbeaten in the conference, moving towards what the ultimate goal is, trying to win the regular season so we can hopefully host the tournament. So yeah, we accomplished those goals, even though some of it wasn't pretty, but that's okay.
That is. The win is a win, right?
Right.
So from this last weekend, who or what kind of stood out to you the most?
In the first game against Otero, it really was such a great team effort. We played so smart, and we went in with an attitude and an idea of here's how we're going to approach this. This is what we want to start with, and we got it right as far as it was working, and everybody bought in, and the effort was really good, and the team spirit was good. I thought. Kaylin Gallup, who plays in the middle of the field for us, and didn't come out of the game. A ton of energy. Had to go up and defend a lot of times the best players on Otero's team. So she, even though we had goal scorers and a great goal by Michelle Cave on the 40-yard ball from a header, and Amberlin's goal, and I think Jessa Lynn had the first goal in that game. Those are all great, but there's other things to me that make that difference. And our defensive side of it, and our thought, and led by someone like Kaylin, really was what stood out in that game. Great
to hear that not just the scorers are stepping up, but defenders and those in the middle.
Right.
Real team effort. That's what we love to hear about. So, a couple of great wins and a lot of team effort. Had to bring it down, different struggles working through, and now this weekend, we've got Western Nebraska, which will be kind of a rematch, and then we've got LCCC, which is always a fun one. So give us a little preview about what we can expect this weekend.
We played Western Nebraska early in the year in a non-conference kind of matchup. They came into the game, and they had some injuries. We were able to take advantage of that, and it was a 7-1 result, which was pretty lopsided, but Western Nebraska is a better team than that. And we know going into that game that's not going to be the result. For us, it's about, hey, how do we manage it? How do we do more of the right things and win the game? Scoring 7 goals is anything beyond, 3 goals a lot of times is really pretty rare in soccer. You just don't score it's not a game where you go out and score a lot of goals. So we're not anticipating that. We know how we need to play, and we know that they're going to come in here and they're not going to want to give us that effort. Laramie is always a tough team, and they're still, for us, they're one of the top teams in our league. Very fast team. We've watched tape of them. They're very aggressive. They're going to be well prepared in that they've played a very tough non-conference schedule. They don't have the results from those games, but you're still playing those games. And so the speed of play, what each of those nationally ranked teams would have presented to them would be learning experiences for them. And so we anticipate that game will be very, very difficult. It's even more difficult because it's the second game.
Yes.
It's always those back-to-backs. It's those second ones. And so, we can't have in our head on the Friday game thinking about Laramie. We kind of prepare for them in a way, in different thought and different things that we do in practice. But you're playing that first game on Friday. But those are two big games. Western Nebraska, last year, in fact, we played a non-conference game in the beginning of the year. We lost to them 2-1 here at home. Went up there, went into overtime with maybe 15 seconds left on the clock, and we scored to beat them.
Oh, wow.
The year before that, we beat them 5-0 up there. They came down here, and it was a 1-1 tie. So we know those things can happen. Laramie last year, we lost to them in the regular season 3-1 at their place. Then we played them in the region semifinal. It went to penalty kicks where we lost to them in penalty kicks. So they're tough. Everybody in the league's tough, and they all know each other. We know there's no intimidation factor, and so you go into those games and everybody you bring your best and you hope that works.
So what are you going to tell your players in preparation for this Western Nebraska, knowing, hey, you might have had this result here of 7-1, but this is going to be a totally different team. What are you telling them?
Right. Well, I'm trying to get them to, again, number one is to recognize what the game is for. It's to maintain first place in the conference. You have to come out with the energy. You have to set the pace. You have to be the bigger, stronger, faster team. You can't play in the past. Those don't matter anymore. Whatever that result is, you got to move on to the next one. So we hope that they have that kind of the killer attitude of, nope, we're not going to give Western Nebraska an inch. Go and take care of it. Jump on them first rather than allowing them something type of a goal, giving them momentum, and now you're having to fight from behind. So that approach is what we're after with Western Nebraska.
Oh, that's great. And I mean, you mentioned earlier about LCCC. They've played some very tough teams. They played 2 top 10 teams, and I also played Western Wyoming, who's also ranked 15, I believe, already. And which we need to add this here really quick because I forgot to mention at the beginning, but you finally cracked the top 20 at number 19.
Right.
So, I mean, there's credit to you saying, hey, you're still good, but, hey, we've got to focus on, we've got Western and then we got LCCC that,
right.
I mean, they might not be ranked, but they're always a tough one.
Well, they are. And again, they played number 2 Salt Lake to a 5-4 loss. Daytona, I think, was 2-0 for Daytona. Eastern, and they had to play again the next day, I think, down there against Eastern, and that became the really tough game, and I think that game ended up being 5-0 for Eastern. But I watched every one of those games, and Laramie had plenty of opportunities. They got caught out of shape a couple of times, and again, those are fixable issues. So we know if they fix those things, they're going to be very hard to handle. So, again, very well prepared. I think you mentioned the Western Wyoming game. Same thing. I think it was a 0-0 game.
0-0 tie.
So they're capable, and they're only going to get stronger. Last year, Laramie started off the year, and I think they were 0-5,
Wow.
and they ended up winning the region title game against Otero, and then they beat Seminole State in the district game. Unfortunate for Seminole, they had to come out of nice, cozy, warm Oklahoma and come and play a tough game in Wyoming. It was 30 degrees outside and 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, Laramie's going to win that game.
Yeah.
So they're tough. Everybody's tough. We have to come in and give it our best effort, and hopefully our thoughts and ideas, our kids do a better job than theirs. That's how you win the game.
Right. And you actually mentioned something that's going to be kind of an X factor too again this weekend. Is it's supposed to be cold. It's supposed to be windy. I know we've actually talked about this before about kind of that adapting to those circumstances. Do you expect your ladies to do that again?
Yeah, it's supposed to, again, there's supposed to be some wind and rain. And, the wind is always the toughest one to adjust to, because it just makes the game, makes it harder to control the ball. So what we're hoping for are, again, if those are the conditions, can we be successful enough to win the game? Games like that can result in ties, can result in lopsided stuff. It's a great equalizer. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to that if that's the case, but we have played in it. So hopefully we have the right attitude if that's there, and we're prepared.
All right. So final question for you. So we're about, I'd say, at least midway through the season now, and what's something that you've seen consistently with your team that is going to lead you to a successful weekend?
They're really good at making the right adjustments. They play really well for each other. They listen. They're very coachable, and man, they play hard. They really play hard, and they can play a lot of minutes. They're pretty tough, and we're knock on wood pretty healthy. We really don't have any serious injuries. A little knock, a little bruise here and there, but nobody really is out. So again, we go into the 2-game set this weekend, healthy. But yeah, they're a really good group. They're really good kids. They're serious students. There's a lot about this team. When I use the word team, that's what's going to help them to be successful. As long as they stay that.
And that's all we can hope for, right?
Yep.
So we've got Friday, Saturday, 1 o'clock, Casper College and Moraine playing fields. We definitely hope to see you there because there are going to be some excellent matchups.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.